Kiku, obviously, it's got links to Buddhism, and I guess, but it represents death. It's reserved for funerals and things like that. And so, yeah, their answer was something like, "But I'm not dead yet. Like, why? You haven't." I can finish work at 5 p.m., walk down to the Shinjuku, Shibuya, whatever, any station. 2 hours later, I'm in a completely different world.
What's your name?
I'm Andy from Australia.
Andy. Yeah. How long have you been in Japan?
I've been in Japan just over 3 years now. Yeah.
And, what brought you to Japan 3 years ago?
I came here initially for work, so I was lucky enough to kind of negotiate my way over here in the team and be part of the small kind of company that we have here in Japan.
日本語で自己紹介をしてもらってもいいですか？
私はアンディです。オーストラリア出身です。今3年間東京に住んでいます。
So what's the reason for you to move to Japan?
Obviously for work, but I've always I came to Japan many times when I was back in Australia just for a holiday. I was fortunate enough when I was in primary school, which is like junior high in Australia. That school that I went to at the time, everyone got Japanese. I don't know why. I was essentially forced. It was super basic, counting and animals and stuff. But I was forced to kind of learn Japanese for 2 years. And then after that, when it got to high school, I got to choose. And Japanese obviously was one of the choices, so I picked it. First time I came to Japan was just before that big tsunami in Tohoku, literally a month before that in 2011. I had a really good experience at that time. And then going back home right after that and then seeing the incident, the tsunami, the earthquake, I was still fresh off the plane coming back from Japan. I felt like I had a strong connection to Japan, and I really felt for the people that were there that were suffering. It wasn't like I'm definitely going to live in Japan one day and commit to that, but that's kind of what turned out as I kind of turned my interest more towards Japan.
Interesting. So when you first came to Japan, what was the culturally speaking, what was the thing that you liked about the most?
Yeah, so when I first moved here, my priority was just immerse yourself in the local culture with people and the language. I love football, soccer, so I use websites like La Bola or things like that. So, every time I booked on their website, it just puts you into a game. Basically, you can play with random strangers. No one knows each other. Everyone's kind of individuals. But every single time I did that, everyone was Japanese. I was the only foreigner, and I absolutely loved that. So that was kind of the first year I was here. That's all I was doing. I was just and just kind of my style of learning Japanese as well is more, I guess you could say, shadowing or just in the deep end, not textbook, just forced to listen and speak it. That works the best for me. I guess one thing to reflect on with that is there's making friends, kind of growing a bit deeper with Japanese people. So take that example of football. Same general kind of people. A lot of people change, but people recurring. There was this one guy, and he was there 3 weeks in a row with me, as me. We got to know each other a bit more after each game. Let's go to somewhere there. So he played well, kind of thing, small talk. He tried to practice a bit of English with me. I thought things were going well. Like, this guy, he likes me, and he's a really nice guy. And, first week, second week, third week, we played together. And then I felt like, breathe the air. I was always kind of had that in the back of my mind. I was like, I'll just ask this guy, like, you want to get ramen after? I thought, ramen, ikimashouka. And then it's like, really polite, tatemai, but like, oh, okay. Like, so I understood, like the boundary, like we're friends maybe, but within the bounds of football. And that's totally fine. It's not a bad thing. So I just had to kind of adapt to that. But then again, I've made friends, other Japanese friends, different ways. And you really, once it gets out of that bound of like, we're just football friends, we can hang out at any sort of whatever, like it's much deeper, I feel. The friendship is much deeper. On the contrary, if you compare that to again, I said I don't meet many foreigners, but I do play football with a lot of foreigners. And there's a French guy I met, and if you compare these two kind of things, so like I met him, we played together just one time. First time we met, played together for an hour. After he's like, you want to get a beer? Yeah, let's go. And then we became really close. We traveled around Japan together. Like, so I'm not saying one's bad, but you just need to kind of, just there's a lot of cultural differences and work within them, and it'll be beneficial.
What has been the biggest culture shock maybe for you?
In many situations, there's a way to do things. There's a very strict order of things you should say, things you should do, even government things with papers and things like that. It's very, very strict. So maybe back in Australia, other countries, it's less black and white. So there's room for not negotiation, but like, oh, can you just kind of help me out here in this little middle gray area? Oh, all right, okay, I can see that you're struggling with that or whatever. But here it's like black and white. That's okay. Like I've needed to kind of understand that and kind of comply with that. But that took some while to getting used to. I guess so if you're doing like a food order, right? So let's say it's a sandwich restaurant, which is actually not that common here. But let's say there's a sandwich restaurant, and they've got a set menu. choice A, B, C, D, and I want C, but I don't want tomato inside, or I want you to add or double. Like, maybe they'll do it, but it's like, it's not, I don't think it's a common question that they get asked or that they expect. But I think that's like a bit of a thing. Like, a lot of people really, they come from cultures that have a lot more flexibility. And now I feel okay, but it was a bit frustrating at the start. If you ask a question, like, the answer they give, it has to be like bang on, like completely accurate, because they're representing the company or whatever. That's cool, but it's like, don't worry. Like, many times I've like, oh yeah, it's okay, don't worry, it's okay, just daijoubu.
What's the biggest difference between Australia and Japan?
Japan is so well connected. It's a very different landscape. Everything's different, but Japan's an island, Australia's an island. That's the same, but in Australia you can't just get on a bullet train and go to another city. It doesn't happen. It's such a massive. It's a big country with not much in between the big cities that we do have. Japan, there's stuff everywhere, and it's so accessible. So for me, I love traveling around Japan, and so I can do here what I can't do back in Australia so easily. I can finish work at 5 p.m., walk down to the Shinjuku Station, Shibuya, whatever, any station, get on a train, get out of Tokyo, or go to the mountains or something. 2 hours later, I'm in a completely different world. That's almost incomprehensible for me. It was at the time when I moved here.
Do you engage in any other activities than just playing football, or like doing software engineering? Do you do anything else in Tokyo?
I was going to some language exchange events for a while, which was really cool. Like, I got to meet a lot of, especially younger Japanese people. So Australia is an incredibly popular country for working holiday and study abroad for Japanese people. And I think there's a bit of an imbalance in terms of how many, well, it's New Zealand as well, so how many Australians and New Zealanders live in Japan versus, Americans or British. There's a lot more. And those countries are also very popular. So I feel like when I go to these events, like language exchange or something like that, always there's someone that's like, I'm thinking about going to Australia, or my friend's going there in February, but he or she is super worried. They don't know where they should live, or they like, is it safe? Can they get a job? And, it sounds kind of bothersome, I guess, or kind of mendokusai, but I actually really enjoy it. It's not a question, but it's like, my English is not good enough. It's a thing that they're really worried about. My English is not good enough. Do you think I'm going to be okay? And I always tell them, absolutely. I've never met a person that's done a study abroad, Australia, New Zealand, something like that, and they've come back after 1 or 2 years, and they're like, oh, I hated it. Like, there may have been things that didn't go right, like bad experiences or something, but generally they always come back and they have really good things to say. Yeah, so in Japan, there's a lot of opportunities that have been given to me here, or that I've come across, that I would have probably not had the chance to have back home in Australia. One of which is the fact I get to represent Australia on a national TV show in Japan as a recurring cast member, and that's led to some incredible experiences. I get to sometimes, depending on the episode or whatever, but sometimes I get to travel around Japan and kind of report on different topics.
What has been the most interesting topic you had to engage in?
There's been a lot, but I'd say actually, like, the topics that you think are really mundane and kind of, like ramen. There's prefectures or places around Japan that have specialized their own version of ramen. And how they came to do that, not just to stay in business and stay profitable and be different or whatever, but the passion and depth of which these people go to invent new ways, new styles, keep it fresh. It's incredible.
Is there any other ramen types that you remember, or was mind blowing as well?
It was this bunch of guys, it's like a ramen club. These older Japanese men. They get together on the weekend. I don't think they're chefs. They get together on the weekend and they have such an enthusiasm and a passion. They experiment with different recipes and they get together and they're like, oh, this is the broth that I came up with. What about you? Oh, this is mine. And then they all taste, and like that's so cool, right? Like, it's a ramen community, and they're doing it out of the love of the ramen. So yeah, you just kind of peer behind the curtain, and it's like it's just something that seems very surface level. It's very deep.
Interesting. What is the most difficult thing when it comes to learning language for someone who started as an adult age?
I definitely feel like I should have committed. If I could go back, I'd learn it when I was younger. Like, just things feel harder to get into my brain now that I'm, in my 30s. I would also, and I know everyone says it, but I would not neglect kanji. It's terrifying, and it still is terrifying, but it really increases your understanding. like for me, I'm very logical, and so I don't like being told, "Oh, that's an exception. Just remember it." And there's a lot of that English as well. I hate that, but then kanji helps a lot with that for me. Like it's still weird and it doesn't make sense, but this kanji thing links this whatever links the two things. Okay, I can go with that. That there's some sort of reasoning there.
Do you have any favorite kanji?
It's really basic, but the o dai. I just like the concept of like big something, big person is adult, big school is university, like daigaku. Yeah, I like that. We don't have that really in English, so.
And do you have any favorite Japanese word?
Yeah, my favorite Japanese word is tondemonai. Tondemonai. I use it always out of context, just because the smallest little thing I'll do for someone, and they'll just like, oh, yeah, thanks for that. Oh, tondemonai, and like, all right. I know I'm saying it wrong. It just makes it more kind of interesting, I guess. Maybe another culture difference as well. Like, in Australia, like if someone's not well, if someone's a bit sick or something, maybe some people traditionally you buy them a card and some flowers or something, and so in the card, or daijine, feel better soon. Give it to them. Thank you. Like I did that for a friend the first year I was here. The friend was a Japanese friend, and they got COVID, and it may have been for me because I had it just like a couple of weeks before, and so I felt a bit bad. Therefore, I got a card and some flowers. What I didn't know is that the flowers I got were the kiku, the chrysanthemum, which for me at that time, flower is a flower, right? Like it just I went to the supermarket, I bought the first kawaii-looking flower bunch that I found, and kiku obviously it's got links to Buddhism, and I guess, but it represents death. It's reserved for funerals and things like that, and so. Yeah, their answer was something like, "But I'm not dead yet. Like, why you haven't?" So yeah, like again, that's another. All these little things. You can only learn these things by living here. You can't prepare yourself for that, and it's not like they understood.
Yeah.
Time kind of heals all, and time reveals everything.
Right. So yeah, that was it from my side. Is there any other stories you'd like to talk about? You'd like to maybe share? Funny, interesting, confusing, embarrassing, anything?
Not so much. Recently I've just really, I don't know, become really passionate about, especially the younger generation in Japan. Like they are the future. And, everyone's always talking about the future of Japan. Like we don't have a future. It's terrible, bad. I don't think so. I think the young people here, they are different in ways. It's changing. Not just work, but just culturally it's changing. I think a lot of them now, more of them are going abroad and then coming back and bringing that knowledge and things back. And I'm not saying that like, changing Japan to become more foreign, absolutely not. But it's a bit more open-minded, becoming a bit more open-minded, which I think is good. And if I can be of any help, I want to. Like I've really felt a lot of fulfillment and joy in that. It's something I can do to give back, not just kind of help with their English. Like anyone can do that, but the fact that again, as I said, they've chosen Australia. So like, how can I? I really like and respect that. How can I make their experience there as good as possible? What information can I help them with or anything like that? Because a lot of them, when they go, when we go and travel, when I came here, I was just full of excitement. Like, yeah, it's going to be hard, but I was like, for them, generally speaking, there is a lot more concerns. Japan's obviously the safest country in the world, right? These other countries, maybe not so much. There may be some, generally it's safe, but they could be compared to here. English as well, that's a big, thing that people are worried about. I want to kind of help as much as I can to kind of these people that are going there. I think it's very beneficial for society here in general.
Andy, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
How did you like it?
Oh, it was fun. It was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.